Welcome back to another episode of Positively Uncensored, your favorite reality TV and interview podcast. Today is such an exciting episode. Today, I am joined by a cast member from the most recent season of the Ultimatum Queer Love, Marita. Marita and Ashley had themselves quite a journey right in front of our eyes. And after the reunion, I think that we are all still left with lots of questions. So to hear in Marita's own words and hear about her experience, give us some updates and settle some things. Finally, let's get into it. So welcome to the show, Marita. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Leah. I can't wait to be here.
Now, all of you missed this, but Marita is so patient and so gracious because we have been dealing with some major technical difficulties, but we're here. We're happy to be talking, and I can't wait to dive into her journey on the ultimatum. Is it hot where
Absolutely.
you are today?
Oh my gosh, yes. I live in Florida. It's hot every day, and sometimes there's a little sprinkle, but you just gotta roll with it. And yeah,
I'm in New Jersey and I've been hearing a lot lately that our weather is sort of similar. It's felt
Ooh,
like very subtropical in New Jersey lately, very humid, very hot every single day. So I
yeah,
think we're in sort of like similar conditions, but the New Jerseyans and Floridians will probably come for me when I try to compare the two states.
absolutely. We're in the heat of the summer, baby.
Dead heat. So let's start with an icebreaker to balance
Okay.
that out. We learned a little bit about your music career. We learned about what type of music you like, but I'm dying to know first of all, how old are you to refresh my memory?
So I'm 27. We
Okay.
filmed when I was 25, and I turned 26 on the show, and now I'm 27.
Okay, okay. And it's crazy how different of a spot mentally I was from 25 to 27. So I'll
Yeah.
be curious throughout our chat if you feel the same way. So you're a millennial, correct? Or cusp, millennial Gen Z?
No, I'm Gen Z.
You're Gen Z. Okay. I'm
Yep.
right on the cusp. I'm 30, so I'm like 95. I'm right there
Oh,
on the
wait.
edge.
I'm 98. So wait, am I a
Oh,
millennial? Yeah.
let us know in the chat. Everybody, let us know what you think. Are we millennials? What is the cutoff? I know that there's a new term, but where I was getting this is I was curious. We're like only a few years apart. So, what were your favorite pop stars growing up? Like, who was your idols?
Oh my gosh, that's like such a great question. Obviously, Miley Cyrus was like a huge, huge like part of my life in Hannah Montana. I
Love
just
that.
looked up to her like full-blown role model. I was so into like the Disney kids like Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, but then there was also like Christina Aguilera that like I was super impressed by, and like Katy Perry, just growing up with like these pop beautiful sounds of like powerful women is really what I was like attracted to. And yeah, I mean, like thinking about going back to like when I was little, it was always like I wanted to be them, to be quite frank. And I felt like I even asked the people that I would like watch the show with, like it felt like we were friends. Like watching the show, I'd be like, I feel like I'm friends with Miley. Like I go to school with her. I don't know. It's just like an energy thing, but yeah.
No, I totally know what you mean. That was like my first parasocial relationship I ever had was with the cast of Hannah Montana. You know what I mean? Like
Thank
where I
you.
was like, I actually do know her. You would be upset to know that I know her and you don't. So I felt that way. I felt very loved Mitchie from Camp Rock, obsessed with
Oh
her.
my God.
So
Yes.
I can relate. I can relate to that. Also, of
And
course,
Allison Stoner. Ooh, I had
and
a
then
huge crush on her.
and then she was in Step Up too. Like it's like Allison Stoner. I still love her to this day.
Oh, I know. She's such an icon. I love her voice.
What did you, as far as reality TV, had you dabbled are you a reality TV girl and had you watched The Ultimatum?
So that's a funny question because Ashley and I were living together at the time. We had our own house and we were watching the first season of Queer Ultimatum, and we were like, wow, we would never do that to each other. Like, I can't believe these people are like here to basically hand off their partners and see if it all works out in the end. And we were just on the couch, like thinking, never in a million years. And then 2 years later, here we are. filming for the Ultimatum Queer Love. But at the end of the day, I'm really glad that we did it because it just provided so much clarity and like realigned me back to like what I think I deserve, you know?
Okay, that's interesting perspective because prior to us recording, AD from What's the Reality, she came out with an episode with AJ and Brittany, and they actually said the same thing. They said that they watched the Ultimatum Queer Love. They remember sort of just like kind of like not really like making fun of, but just sort of poking at the couples and being like, who would do this? And then they ended up on the show. So that's so interesting that you had sort of like a similar experience in watching the show. So let's get
Yeah.
into how did what happened between you watching the show saying we would never do this to each other, and then how did you ultimately get cast on the show?
Wow, that's a loaded question. A lot happens in 2 years. I would say like Ashley and I were fully, completely in love. We were traveling, we were happy, like we had a house. But you know, with that comes the struggle of she still was not able to provide what I think I needed to fill my cup romantically. So it did get hard sometimes, you know, where like I did feel that empty feeling of, you know, am I not good enough? Like, why can't she get to this point of like wanting to be that person for me, wanting to do these things, like wanting to consider me throughout her day. So it almost came down to, you know, if I don't figure this out, if I know what my self worth is, but the woman that I love isn't able to meet those expectations, what does that mean? Like, it was for me really hard to figure out, you know, okay, should I just set her free and I guess, you know, go on my own? But I also was so deeply in love with her and like I wanted her to get to that point. And there were so many conversations where it's like I begged her. I begged her to love me the way that I received love. And it's honestly like you can see it in the show. It's not that hard. I think it's just like the genuine energy that I got from Ashley wasn't as loving or attentive that I think I needed. And that's okay too. I think that like Ashley is meant for somebody that is very much like Bridget. Like Bridget seems like she's very calm, cool, collected and like she doesn't ask for much. And I'm not saying that I'm asking for too much, but I do think what I bring to the table should be at least reciprocated in some sort of way, because at the end of the day, then it just becomes unbalanced and leaves me feeling like, you know, I'm not worthy of even being in this relationship.
I definitely have a lot of questions
Mm-hmm.
about how you receive love, how Ashley receives love, how the two of you were giving love to each other. Before we get to that, though, even as we talk now, I'm wondering if we were missing something as viewers, because I remember at least a few episodes, I had the perception that you had issued the ultimatum to Ashley. And even as we talk now, it sort of sounds like you were the one who was sort of identifying places that you were unhappy. So I'm wondering, like, was Ashley truly the one who gave the ultimatum, or was that
Mm-hmm.
just the framing for the show? And if so, what was her reasoning for why was she basically saying this is the level that I can give you, take it or leave it, or was there more to what she was saying when she issued you that?
Yeah, I think it is kind of misconstrued in the way that like Ashley, a lot of people are perceiving her to like not even have liked me, and that is not the case. Like Ashley was fully, completely in love with me. And I will also say like she really did want to marry me. And she really wanted to get to that point in our lives where we were choosing each other. But for me, it's like I needed to know that my partner wasn't going to leave me feeling the way that I felt for that long. And I needed to see the effort in her during this process, knowing that like she was trying to grow, she was trying to learn about different love languages and like putting more effort into those kind of things. And Brittany even would go to the cocktail parties and talk to her about it. Like she'd say, Marita's not asking for much. It doesn't even have to come down to like flowers or dates. It's just like the attentiveness. And there's so many events that happened in my life where I just felt like Ashley wasn't there for me. And honestly, it comes down to her emotional unavailability.
Mhm.
And I mean, you can't apologize for that because of what she's been through. So it really just was not a love language match for us because at the end of the day, if she couldn't get there, and this is what she would say is like, this is the way that I am, this is how I will be, and there's no changing that. I think it was rightfully so that we were able to walk away from each other, and now we can be happy finding that somewhere else.
So would you agree then that when, like going back to before you're on the show, like when you and Ashley
Yeah.
are in your relationship, did it feel like you were sort of at a point where she, like you just said, was sort of like, this is what I'm able to give. I can't give anymore. If you don't want to marry me as exactly as I am today, then I don't foresee anything changing. Was that sort of the purpose of the ultimatum, to either accept her for who she is and how you're getting love, or leave?
That's exactly it. You just
Okay.
hit the nail on the head. That's why we were there. I genuinely was willing to grow and learn about how, I receive love, and I was thinking going into these like dates with other people and picking my trial marriage partner, I wanted to see what other people could bring to the table. And I think that's okay to say because like for so long, for the 4.5 years, 5 years that I was with Ashley, like it genuinely did feel like I was settling because I know what I bring to the table and like I know what I do for her. So for her to be like, okay, marry me as is right now and like maybe we'll be happy. That was kind of the question that I wanted to answer for myself. And Ashley also wanted to answer for herself at the end of the day because she did end up like taking back the ultimatum at one of those cocktail parties, which I had no idea about. But
We'll get to that too, because I definitely
yeah.
have questions about that. So you guys, okay, so I, now that I'm understanding in your relationship, what her issuing the ultimatum and what was going on around that, who found out about the show first, and who was for it, and then who was more against coming on the show in the first place?
Yeah, so it's actually a funny story. One of Ashley's friends in Nashville was recruited, and her girlfriend broke up or something. So that person referred me and Ashley. So it was Ashley's friend that had us referred as a couple. And we were like, wow, okay. But at the same time, we knew where our relationship status was. And I think she wanted to bring me onto the show to like solidify that she was enough for me. And for me, it was like, I love you how you are and who you are, but am I getting what I need out of a relationship, out of a marriage, even if I end up marrying you? So Ashley's friend referred us, and then the interview process and like auditioning and everything was really just unpacking the differences between Ashley and I and like what we like see for our future and how we receive love. And I think they were interested in our story of like, okay, so this couple is genuinely very much in love, but they're at a crossroads of like, is it even worth it at that point? um so I think they were just taken back by our story and they were ready to unpack it just as much as we were.
And you guys had been together for 5 years, correct? During that
Yes.
time?
Yeah.
Okay. And then just so that we can understand as viewers, like was that a consistent, you're together 5 years? Was there some on and off during that? Like what was your relationship like leading up to the experience?
Yeah, I mean, there were some times like on and off times where again, I just felt like I wasn't getting what I needed. I felt empty. I would cry to my friends. I didn't understand why she couldn't get to a point where I felt satisfied, like throughout my love language. And I wouldn't say that's like a cry for help. It was just like I genuinely was feeling empty. I felt like there had to be something out there that like really was going to make my soul feel comfortable. And when they say like when you know, it's like for some reason I love Ashley, or I loved Ashley for so long, but it was like for some reason I was like, is this really endgame? Like, are we sure about this? And I just kept asking myself that. But every time I did, it was like, yeah, I love this person. Like, I wonder why I feel this way. And it just came down to like not being met where I wanted to be met.
Okay. So when you guys initially started your relationship, like let's look back at year one, would you say that there was ever a time where the dynamic was different and Ashley was giving you love in the way that you received, or was it pretty consistent throughout the whole thing?
So year one was actually pretty crazy. We were living in Nashville at the time, and Ashley had just gotten out of her other relationship.
Right.
Um, and so Ashley wasn't in a place to go into another relationship with someone. So for 12 months, I actually was chasing her. And part of me feels like that wasn't fair because I was just showing up for her. I was like, listen, it sounds like you weren't getting what you wanted out of your last relationship. Let me show you all of the love in the world because like that's what I bring to my partner. So I think she was just like taken back at like how much I was giving to her and like how I'm a hopeless romantic and like what love should really look like. But the first year was really just me trying to convince her that this could be like a beautiful love story. And she used to like get to places where she was like intoxicated and ask me to be her girlfriend when I knew she wasn't ready. But like me, so excited, like, yes, I was like, yes, let's do it. But then she would revert the next day because she was still in this place of like not being sure. And then finally, 12 months later, she was like, okay, I think I'm ready. But for that first year, it was really me just trying to be like, I really want to be in a relationship with you. Like, I actually know what I want. I'm going to go after it. And like, maybe that was selfish of me. Maybe I should have given her the time to heal. Um, and we have talked about that too. Like, just the fact that I was
Hmm.
there right after that.
Right.
Um, but
And may I
then
ask if you knew, because I think that there was some sort of comment that made us as viewers at least think that maybe you were unaware of, and trigger warning for everybody who's listening, we are sort of talking about an abusive relationship. But when you got together, were you aware of the details of that relationship and what she was healing from?
I like not right away. So
Okay.
I was under the impression that whatever relationship she came out of was extremely toxic. And I became really close friends with Ashley's friends too. So I didn't want to ask too many questions just because like, we were just meeting and wanted to make sure like whatever was said, like she was comfortable having me hear.
Hmm.
Um, but obviously like as we dove deeper into our relationship and like years later and unpacked all of that, yes, I did know about that. And I know about other things from our past too, and we've talked about that. And I wouldn't say Ashley's actions come from a place of resentment, but I do think that she has a fear of, giving herself to somebody just because of what's happened to her in the past. And 5 years later, if she still kind of has that guard up, and like if that's romantically where she lies, where she can't do any more,
Hmm.
then I didn't think that aligned with, what I think I deserve.
Yeah, you know what? I'm understanding a clearer picture of this now because all the
Yeah,
love in the world that you have for somebody, as much as you want to be with them, as much as they do feel like such a core part of your life, even
yeah,
the start of the relationship, like even with friendships, like sometimes like a tumultuous start or a start where two people aren't healed or a start where someone needs more time to heal and process, there is a trickle down like through the relationship of times where either party just can't really show up like in the
yeah,
capacity that they're being asked of. So, first of all, I appreciate you sharing that. Also, I definitely don't want to impose or talk for Ashley or, like talk about her situation. So
right.
I just really wanted to hit it very, very surface level as far as like what you were aware of.
Yeah,
Um, so when you guys started dating then, as you explained how you're showing love to Ashley, like you very much wanted to make her feel supported, and you were just, I think that you were probably, I think it's fair to say a breath of fresh air in terms
hmm,
of like what she had experienced, just how you were offering her love. And was she able to receive that? And in turn, how was she offering you love? We've heard about ways that potentially she could offer more, but in what ways, like what was Ashley's giving love language?
yeah. So good question. In the beginning, and honestly throughout our relationship, I don't think she expected me to do as much as I did for her. Like obviously everybody knows about the 98-page Story of Us novel that I wrote for her, but that took me 2.5 months to make, like handwritten with pictures, images, and like just about our journey together. I thought it was like very special, and I'm glad that she still has that. She keeps it like close to her heart even after everything we've been through. But yeah, the ways that Ashley would show up in our relationship, she would just do things that were like, how do you like day-to-day things that some people might think are convenient, I guess. So like
Acts
folding
of
the laundry.
service? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, like folding the laundry or like making sure that like the house is clean, or taking Bentley out, like just like day-to-day things was like her love language. Like taking things off my plate. That's a good way to put it. Like taking
Okay.
things off my plate that maybe are cumbersome to my day-to-day. Was kind of her love language. And the way that I feel like I receive love is I need words of affirmation. I feel like consideration is the greatest form of love, like considering your partner with or without them, like when you're in the present moment. And like physical touch is a big one too. Like I didn't get a lot of that from Ashley either, and that also kind of comes from her past, and I'm someone that needs that. So there's a lot that like we didn't touch on the show that also kind of made me feel like, is this even a relationship? Like, yes, I love you. I absolutely love you. I can't imagine my life without you. Like, I want us to eventually be endgame. But is that just coming from a place where it's like, am I settling right now? Like, I'm not
Did it
getting
feel
the.
like roommates, sort of? Like you were just,
And that's what I mentioned. Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
it would. And like the energy of waking up together and like working from home together and just going about our day to day was just, it became like a routine. And I feel like for me, I want spontaneity. I want to be surprised. I don't need grand gestures, but like shake it up a little bit, like bring something to the table that doesn't have to be this energy of like, okay,
Monotonous,
yeah,
everyday routine. That's
yeah,
very, okay, I'm
because it
understanding.
it became very like roommatey and like
So what made her
friendly.
feel safe potentially made you feel stagnant. like that it could
Yeah.
just be it could be like what makes Ashley feel safe in the relationship, like having this routine, doing these acts of service made you feel like, but do you love me? You know what I mean? Like, do you want to kiss me? Like, do we want to go on a
Yeah.
spontaneous date? Like, what more? You know, like what more is there? So I'm hearing that it was like two incompatible love languages. I think you also mentioned, and we're going to get into in just a second, your trial marriage with Brittany. But I could really relate when you talked about like working on being a people pleaser and always sort of like keeping a happy face for
Yeah.
others. And I can speak from experience and then ask you if you agree. I've noticed in myself that sometimes with relationships and sometimes with friendships, I accidentally overcompensate. And I don't know if it's like people pleasing or abandonment issues, but sometimes like I overcompensate in terms of like I'm so on top of everything. But then like a part of me feels drained from that. And then as soon when you're not getting it back, there's this almost like emptiness or like resentment of like, well, what the heck? I think of you. And then the person's like, but I didn't ask you to think of me in that capacity. You know, like
Yeah.
you overextended yourself that way. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you like have had any moments where you've like looked at things like that and felt similarly as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I touched a little bit on the show about it, but I genuinely give my everything to any soul that I come across.
Same.
And I think that's a blessing and a curse. I have
Hmm.
been taken advantage of multiple times just
Hmm.
because people see my energy, they see that I'm giving, they see that I'm caring. They want to like hold that in their pocket and just
Hmm.
like there are some people out there that like use that against me, you know?
Hmm.
It's like let me show Marita this side of me that is going to cater to her, but it's because I need to get this out of her, you know?
Hmm.
So, like been in manipulative situations because I am a people pleaser and like I do everything for everyone, but at the end of the day, I look back at myself and I'm like I do feel drained. I'm like,
Yes.
how can I spread myself so thin across all of these people that, you know, I want to show up for, but
Right.
then when it comes to showing up for me, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's like a percentage of like what I give.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like also a blessing in disguise. Maybe that's also like not fair to other people that like I overcompensate. So they're like, okay, but like, did I ask for that? Like the flowers with Ashley. She didn't like flowers.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Like I still wanted to show up for her. Like
I
it's
get it. I get it.
confusing.
It's sometimes confusing when we, and I've been there before, like, and things change as you get older. You know what I mean? Like, where you want to show someone how to love you, so you love them how you want to be loved, and then they're like, "But wait a second." You know, like I've totally been in that experience before. But you know what? Like, it's such a common experience. You are one of millions and millions of people who have this experience. It's a learning experience. I think it's
Yeah.
very beautiful that you're as self-aware as you are. This is something my therapist has helped me with, unpacking the fact that sometimes I overextend myself coming from a place of abandonment issues was really hard for me to understand and like
Yeah.
look at myself. And shout out to Nedra Glover Tawwab. If you've never heard of her book Set Boundaries Find Peace, it offers scripts on how to set boundaries. I actually had a lot of viewers write this in. As it's been 2 years since you've been on the show,
Yeah.
have you been in therapy to help you process all of this that we're talking about?
Yeah, so the show does provide like a couple sessions of therapy after we filmed and like before it's released and then you know, if needed once it's released. So yeah, I have been in so much therapy and there's so much from my past. There's so much that happened on the show that I needed to unpack and talk through. And I think it's helpful to like have me time, if that
Oh,
makes sense.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Because yes, like I go to the gym and like I consider that me time, or like journaling, I consider that me time. But therapy is also a place where like the person I'm talking to has an unbiased opinion, and it can be a place where like I truly open up because
Yes.
that's important. It's important to talk about like the good, the bad, and the ugly, like of
Hmm.
my past, my present, my future. So, yeah, I think therapy is huge, huge. And yes, I have been there. Yes.
I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. All of us can benefit from therapy. It's hard,
Yes.
number one, to find a good therapist. Even that can
Right.
be a process.
It
But
is.
and it's hard to work through the gunk, really. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
going to therapy sometimes feels like going and working out a muscle group that you forgot about for 10 years. You know, it's like, ew, do we really have to do that? Do I really have to go through that? But
Yeah.
it does help, like you said, that unbiased party who's going to be like, I think we could take a beat and think about where what that response was coming from. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, could we? And then, but hearing that from your partner or a parent or a friend, like sometimes it can just feel like all consuming, or you can just feel like protective of yourself. So it's just such a different environment to be talking to your therapist.
Yeah. No, I agree. Absolutely.
I want to get into your trial marriage with Brittany now. We've talked about
Fun.
like getting into now we understand more about your relationship with Ashley. We understand how you guys got there. I want to talk about initially before we get there. You, from my understanding, were most interested in coupling up with AJ. Would you say that that's correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you were most interested in coupling up with AJ. And why was that? Like, what did you think that the dynamic with AJ would have brought you during your trial marriage?
So I think that's one thing that people misunderstand about AJ is just very, very good at like connecting with people. And that's the best way to put it. Like when you're talking to her, and I even said this like at the table that night, like it feels like nobody else is there. And I think that's beautiful because like AJ is listening. AJ is, and I love how I'm literally saying her name 500 times because like she did that too. But I would say like she was just so easy to talk to open up to get deep with. Like we had conversations that got really, really deep. And it felt like, wow, okay, this person is really cool. And there's like a lot of layers to this person. And I did feel like the romantic things that she was bringing up, I was like, damn, okay. You could do that for me in like 3 weeks. Perfect. Let's see what you can do. Let me see how I react to that, you know? So yeah, I was really into AJ because of those reasons, and we've all talked about it too. Like after the fact, and like we're so close now. We look back at that moment, and it's like it was in the moment, and it all happened all at once. Nobody understood what was going on. It was a whirlwind of emotions, but like the connection that AJ and I built was true. It was real, and like the emotions that came out that night at the choice were valid. And I mean, yeah, like that's all I can speak to at this point.
That adds context. I was super curious because I was one of those people who had like initially sort of misread AJ watching her. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this feels very full on. Are you here to like have a trial marriage, or are you here to just like lean into this experience like who isn't your partner? And by the end of watching, I was like, you know what? Marita's on the money. Like AJ is a very, and I'm doing it too, like it's crazy saying her name a lot, but AJ's very alluring. I think that that's a very good word. She has an
Yeah.
alluring personality, and she's charismatic, and she's fun to talk to. And because of that, I think a lot of people can be drawn to that energy, and
Hmm.
a lot of people can like misinterpret that energy as well, not referring to yourself, but like some of the other cast members who were there, or us viewers at home who are watching.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, when you're there, okay, and do you have a type? Like, is somebody like Ashley your type? Like, are you into mask? Like, tell me what the situation is.
Yeah, so I'm more into mask presenting women, but I also like a softie. And I'm also into stems, like masks that, also like to wear a little bit of makeup. I
Yeah.
think that's extremely attractive. I like energy and I vibe
Hmm.
very much off of energy and eye contact and like I've been into femmes in the past too, and clearly that is shown because like I really was also very happy with my time with Brittany. But yeah, I would say like mask presenting, Ashley fits that box, because like I don't know, like dark hair, edgy, tattoos, skater,
Hmm.
STEM.
Hmm.
That's one category, but then you have like blonde, beachy, athletic, and
Hmm.
then you have like all the other beautiful women in the world. Like there I don't have like a way of putting people in buckets. I just think it's all about how they make me feel in that
Well,
moment. And AJ made me feel things. So,
yes. I was just kind of wondering, like, when you get there, is the dating pool like, are the options sort of limited? Like, are you looking around and
oh
kind of
yeah.
like, oh, like she's not my type, but like she is, you know what I mean? And like, sort of just like, like sort of limits your options. And then I was thinking that about Brittany too, because like you said, once you two paired up, energetically, I can see how well you guys meshed. But I was
Yeah.
wondering if because of like what your at least what your last partner looked like sort of mask presenting. I didn't know if maybe you hadn't considered Brittany as an option because AJ was more your type, like physically, and if you were
Yeah.
sort of like surprised by how well things went when you and Brittany were paired up. Can you tell us, first of all, what was it like the fact that you were interested in AJ and
Yeah.
then you paired up with Brittany? Like, was that awkward at first between the two of you?
So, it's a lot to unpack there.
Yes. Excuse me.
No, you're good. You're good. Obviously, like the whole entire cast member, everybody is their own individual person. But yeah, I would say I was like more attracted to AJ than what I thought of Brittany, but also, like what you don't see is we had our first date at the beach, like me and Brittany, and that was the only conversation that we had leading up to moving in together, which is crazy, but like the way that things flowed, the energy between us, and just feeling comfortable and like cared for, even in those 10-15 minutes, however long it was, that we were just thrown into this experience together. And I'm pretty sure she was my second date that day, when we were speed dating. So I just felt the energy of her. I was like, no matter what happens, no, I'm not going to choose her to be my trial wife because that's not what I normally would go for. But I knew, like, in some sort of way, I wanted to connect with her on some sort of level, if that makes sense.
And do you know, just because you have maintained a friendship with AJ and Brittany, do you know who Brittany wanted to couple up with in the experience? Like, did you guys ever, like, did she ever tell you during your relationship with each other?
Yeah, so she was into Mel for sure. And I mean, yeah, I think like at the changeover, or sorry, the choice, like we all had like an idea in mind of who we wanted to pick, but it was also so confusing and all over the place and
Mm-hmm.
emotional. And it's like there were set people that had set intentions, and then there were people like me where I was like, I think I know what I'm gonna do, but also not necessarily. Like I thought about choosing Kyle too. I was also really into Haley, which is again not somebody I would go for, but we had great dates. Like we dated pretty heavily towards the end. But yeah, I would say it's kind of just like a whirlwind is what I'm gonna say.
It sounds like a whirlwind because you don't know what to expect. And it's sort of
Mm-hmm.
like, I think it was Pilar and Kyle. We know. Yeah, Pilar, Kyle, and Bridget sort of found themselves in a situation as well where I think it was I think Pilar was interested in both of them, like interested in both Bridget and
Yeah.
Kyle. So yeah, it's like an interesting experience when you see. number one, who your partner's interested in, and number two, who you're interested in. But then you have their partners also sort of peeping everything that's going on. So, your
Yeah.
first few days that you and Brittany are together, we see you guys leaning into the experience. We see a little bit of Brittany um, acclimating, and rightfully just being a little overwhelmed with the entire experience. We learned, or at least I learned in AD's interview with AJ and Brittany, that AJ had expressed to Marie that she was going to be seeing Brittany, and Marie gave it the green light. Were you aware as well that that Brittany was talking with AJ and they were having conversations?
I knew that there were some times where like, well, the first week of our trial marriage was my birthday. So I was going out, I was enjoying Miami, and like I also like that was my first week with Brittany. So we were being attentive to each other. We had great energy towards one another, but again, we didn't know each other like
Yes.
really at all
Uh-huh.
until one night we grabbed wings from across the street, sat down at the pool, and just were like, all right, let's do this. Let's get deep, let's talk, like let's get to know each other. Because like, yeah, for the first couple of days it was kind of like, what's going on here? Like, how
Mm-hmm.
are we gonna get what we need out of this experience being defaulted by each other? But then
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once we really dove deep and like committed to each other, that's when we actually started caring and wanted to help each other grow and get what we needed out of this experience. But yeah, my birthday that week was, I mean, I was just like, yeah, wifey, you do what you gotta do. Like, I'm chilling. I'm gonna go to karaoke and sing my heart out for my birthday, but like you have fun. Like it just to me it wasn't that crazy that they were seeing each other. Plus, literally every other couple was doing the same thing. They just were the ones that got called out. And like,
That part, because that's what I figured. I'm like, can
yeah.
we be so real? Everybody's checking in. And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm wondering. You can speak for your relationship. Do you think that everybody was in contact, sort of just like that healthy communication, making sure that your person is okay? What do you think the basis of most couples' communications was? And then, of course, your own.
Yeah. So, for Ashley and I would say it was kind of weird because like we were following the rules and hanging out with different people,
Mm-hmm.
but also like on my birthday, I got lunch with Ashley because it was my birthday. She wanted to see me, but she brought Bridget. So I was like, okay, this is bizarre, but like also it's just yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, I feel like people are genuinely going to check in on their partner and like we're
Mm-hmm.
all in this experience in Miami with strangers, especially the first week. It's like making sure that the other person is comfortable, I think is okay.
Absolutely.
I know that we're not supposed to hang out with each other, but like communication and being like, you good? Like anything going on that like I should know about? Like I feel like it's okay to do touch points like that.
Okay, I can. So, a main question that I saw was, what did you work on the most during your trial marriage with Brittany?
Thing that I worked on the most with my trial marriage was just learning about like love and compassion. And the thing about Brittany is she is so passionate about her job. She's the CEO of her own company, but she cares so much about people around her. And it's like to see that energy and the things that she was doing for me, like it felt like I was like, okay, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm learning that, like, I do deserve a person that can meet me at the energy where I'm at. And there's so much more to unpack. Like, we talked about finances, we talked about like kids, we talked about future, like, we talked about like all of the questions that we asked each other on the dates, like, were really just all about the future and like what we want out of a marriage and aligning on that. And I feel like we were kind of on the same page with what we know we deserve because of the people that we are and how we show up.
That's great. So you guys were basically able to help each other sort of figure out what you wanted from your partners or future partners if things didn't work out.
Yeah.
Um, what was left out of the show that you wish that we saw as viewers?
Oh my gosh, there were so many dates that you guys didn't see. Um, like Brittany and I did a rollerblading tournament.
Oh,
We did a salsa dancing class, which was phenomenal. And then even with Ashley, like we went go-karting and I won, by the way. Um, but also we like did pickleball tournaments, tandem biking. There was so much that happened on our dates that didn't make the cut. And I think it's because like we were genuinely just like enjoying each other's presence,
hmm.
having fun, but there wasn't any like tangible conversation that matched the overall storyline. And that's why I think it didn't make it. And yeah, that's okay at the end of the day.
Right, they're going to show things that support the storyline, but unfortunately, that leaves a lot of relationships and people on reality TV like very one-dimensional, which is why I
Yeah.
love to do these interviews so that we can get that context. Netflix release the scenes. How
Oh,
accurate would you say that the portrayal of both yourself and Ashley was?
yeah. So I would say, to speak for myself, like, I think I was fully authentic the entire time. And I'm silly, I'm goofy, but I'm also very emotional and I'm also like very kind and caring to the people around me. And I think I was portrayed exactly the way that I am in real life. Maybe it would have been cool to like show a little bit more of my goofy side. Because I am just like a really random funny person sometimes. But when it comes to Ashley, I feel like there wasn't a lot of her in general, and I would say that's just because like she wasn't used to this kind of environment.
Hmm.
um but also like she her conversations, what happened with Bridget, I don't even know what went on in the background, but what we did see was, from my perspective, like it just seemed like there wasn't growth. And like even that one scene where they were like, let's run away together in Marita's car, like that felt like a jab at me. I don't know. It's just I don't know what Ashley's dates were like. I don't know how she was on and off camera, but like I know when we got together for our dates, or like for our trial marriage, like that was really hard for her for some reason. Like in the first 2 weeks she was anxious the entire time, and like it was really rough. Like we got into emotional, very huge issues and like conflicts, and I was crying like every day because of like the things that we were unpacking. And it's like it's hard at the end of the day. Like the whole entire story is heartbreaking, but at the end, like it just shows people that, like, if you aren't at a place where you think you should be energetically with the person that you love, it's okay to set yourself free. It's okay to not apologize for being obsessed with love.
In fact, that's the kind thing to do is to really set someone free when you're not there with them energetically. You're completely right. Let's move
Yeah.
into the reunion because that's where we'll talk some more about on that on that sort of same page. But
Yes.
we'll start with like the most pressing question that everybody has. Do you regret your words and actions, especially with the "I would have married you, but you ruined it" towards Ashley at the reunion? How do you feel about that now?
So I will say the reunion was a very emotional, really hard time for me. It was also the first time I was seeing Ashley since what happened in November. And I think like our conversation was being misled because it was being facilitated by somebody that wasn't involved in our relationship, in the situation at all. So
Is that
what's not
Marie or the
shown, yeah,
host? Okay,
Marie.
got it.
What's not shown is like Marie was poking at me about
Hmm.
how I was dragging Ashley's name through St. Pete, and like there was so much more that Marie was like pressing me on, And it just got me more and more angry because I'm sitting here trying to defend myself when I know the truth and what happened. And then Ashley and I talked about this too. Like, she lied about me cheating on her 5 times. Like, that never happened. I have never cheated on anyone in my entire life. And the
Mm.
fact that she said that while we were talking about the situation of her cheating on me, she was deflecting and trying
Mm-hmm.
to degrade me to a place where I'm energetically not at. Like, I would never cheat on anybody. I have never. And for her to just scream that to try to like get the heat off of her, we've talked about this. Like, that was hard for me because now I feel like I have to defend myself for something that's completely not true. And we're going to put out a public statement like next week, I think, about this.
Yeah.
But we talked about it. Like, we wish we talked about the reunion. We wish we talked about the whole entire situation before even going on the reunion. Because we're at a place where like we've talked it out, we've hashed out the details, we're cordial, and like we can communicate about things, but at the reunion it was just so heated and
May
it
I
got out of
ask
hand.
if did you guys was that your choice if you're able to say that you guys didn't communicate, or did they ask everybody to not speak that had split up prior to the reunion?
No, I mean, I just personally was no contact with
Not able
Ashley.
to do it. Absolutely
Yeah.
understand. Okay.
And like I almost wish that I did have a conversation with her before going on air because of like the anger that I was holding.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's valid. Like, what was said at the reunion was hard for me to even digest because it just felt hypocritical knowing what happened. And like people are calling it like this grandfather grandmother die off situation, like battle.
Mm.
But to
I'm
me
so
it's like,
sorry.
yeah, no, like, and people will say what they're gonna say, but it didn't mean, we didn't mean to turn that into a fighting match. But like her bringing up her grandmother dying in that moment, of course I care about Mimi. Of course I had a relationship with Mimi, and I would never say that I don't care. But it was at that point where I was like, why are you bringing this up when like you weren't there for me in my time of need?
It also felt like very again, like just a little bit of deflecting, like that, like bringing that up now, you know what I mean, like during a state of high emotion, coming right off of claiming that you did something that you didn't do while talking around things that she actually did do while
Yeah.
your grandfather was passing. I can imagine, not to just say you can say whatever you want to our partners and like there's no repercussions, but just to sort of understand where you're coming from. I'm sure that that's a lot to process.
Yes. Yeah. I would agree.
I Yeah, so I just wanted to offer you, some grace there. So these are just like the last few questions, and these are some of them are
Okay.
coming from Reddit. Looking back at your relationship with Ashley, what do you think you would say kept you in the relationship for so long?
I think just like the love that we shared. And it's so true. I know you guys don't get to see that, but like we had a bond that was really special. And even if it wasn't the type of love that I wanted to feel, it was still like love. It was connection. It was a bond. It was like we lived every day together. We were each other's person. And like looking back, I think that's why I kept telling myself like, no, this is where I should be. This is okay to feel this empty. It's okay to like make excuses because at the end of the day she loves me and this is what she brings to the table. But now I'm like,
Hmm.
you know what? If I'm not getting what I need out of my partner romantically, I shouldn't have to apologize for walking away.
Right. Or nor should you have to minimize the things that you're asking for. With that being said, how has your dating style or approach to love changed now that this
Oh, yeah.
experience is over?
No, I love this question. Yeah, so right now, like dating to me is super just like fun right now. I wouldn't say
Mm-hmm.
like I'm looking for anything serious because the next person that does pursue me, I need to see I need to see like their all pretty much. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've sat in front of multiple women and I'm like, listen, the next person that actually I will actually give my energy to is going to be somebody that has to be made like a human form of gold. And I
I
think
love
that's what I
that.
deserve. And I mean, I feel like everybody should look at themselves and look at what they know that they possess in terms of love and romance, especially hopeless romantics, and just not settle. I mean, that's the lesson here is like there's more out there and I feel like if you need to unlatch yourself from a specific situation in order to find that, then it'll be worth it at the end of the day.
I think that a lot of people can relate to having been in this position. I think that a lot of people could currently be in this position. So I really appreciate you talking about that.
Yeah.
We also know that you and AJ and Brittany have maintained a relationship. I'm dying to see some content from you guys, hopefully all together, hanging out. What about the rest of the cast? Is there anybody else that you still maintain a friendship with?
Yeah, absolutely. I love Haley and Pilar, and I grew up in San Francisco, so they live out there. So whenever I go home, I get to see them and hang out with them. And then Dana and Megan, I'm super close with too. I mean, they live in Michigan, but sometimes they come to
Mm-hmm.
Florida, and like whenever we do get to see each other, we have a blast. Mel and Marie live in Orlando. I would say like Ashley was a little closer with them. So I would see them whenever, Ashley and I would go visit. Um, but yeah, and then Bridget and Kyle are awesome too. They're just all the way in LA. So
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely love everybody. And I know that sounds so silly, but like I feel like the bonds that we made and like the family that we are is unique and everybody brings something different to the table. Everybody went through the same struggles. I know some people are getting some hate, some people aren't. Villains or not, like everybody has a heart and there should be no room for hate for anybody.
I love that. And let's end here. Have you given any more thought to your music career after the show? And is there any way that we can support you in that?
Yes, absolutely. So I have been writing and I've been really inspired lately. And I'm really excited to say that, like, yeah, I've been in the studio. I've been working with some of the people that I've worked with in the past and can't wait for like more content to come out and like all of the music from my past. It's crazy because it's all about like knowing your worth and like self-deserving and like energetically like wanting to get out of a relationship, and it's wild because I was 8 to 12 years old not even knowing I would be standing here right now. So the fact that the
Wow.
universe brings me all the
Full
way
circle,
back,
baby.
full
That's
circle.
crazy.
Yeah, and then I did mention iPop in the show, like with one of my dates with AJ, and they reached out to me too, and they were like, "We want you to perform at our next like event." So that's happening in January too.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for you.
Full
I'm so
circle,
excited.
full circle.
That's seriously full circle. I will be streaming your music. Like when something's out to stream, I'll be streaming it. You have me back into pop. Yes, I'm buying a ticket to Kesha's concert upcoming. I don't know. She was
Love
my
that.
girl from childhood, so we'll see. When you're touring someday, which we're going to manifest, I'll buy tickets to your tour. I'm so
Hmm.
thankful that I got to talk with you. You are a ball of energy, but you know what? Protect that energy. I
Yeah.
know that feeling. I know how when you are a positive person, everybody wants a piece of that. Everybody wants themselves some Marita, but you only have 24 hours in a day, same as everybody else. So I hope that going forward, like you said, you're protecting your energy. You're giving to people who deserve it, and I know that you're so deserving, so you will find your partner someday as well.
Thank you so much. And yeah, there is actually one song that's already out right now. It's called Broke Me, and it's by Marita, and then it's featuring Ill Will.
Is it on iTunes?
It's on Spotify, Apple Music. It should be on all of the
Oh my God, I
platforms.
found it. Marita. Oh my God, I found it. Stop.
But
Everybody.
that was produced in 2016. So, um we're just like revamping that one, and then we're working on new music right now.
No big deal. I love it. I'll be listening as soon as we hang up. I'm going to put the link below. Also, make sure you're following Marita. Send some love. We're sending love only. And thank you so much for joining us and sharing things in your own words.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Leah. I had a great time.
I had a great time too. I'm going to link her profile below, everybody. Make sure you're following Marita and send some love. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.